there's different ways of doing Hisbonenus. There's deeper ways and more superficial ways. And the most basic way to do Hisbonenus is literally to contemplate on a concept until you create a mental picture in your mind till you see it. Like you see that rock in the recesses of your mind being propelled up. And you make the analogy and imagine your mind, some kind of keach, some kind of force, creating the world, Hashem's force, creating the world every single second, until you have this kind of a mental awakening. Because according to Hasidus, you have two levels of understanding something. Two levels of the intellectual process. You have Chokhmah and you have Bina. Now, how to translate Chokhmah is a good question. Bina is readily translated as that which is understood. It's the power of understanding. Bina is lines of logic, letters of thought. And what's Chokhmah? So Chokhmah is the initial flash of intellectual intuition that comes to a person before they analyze the concept in lines of logic and letters of thought. And the analogy would be that you have two people trying to figure out a difficult problem. And both people are drawing a blank. As much as they think, complete blankness is in their mind. And then suddenly one of them slams his hand on the table and says, I got it! So his friend's so shocked, so excited. Tell me, what'd you get? But instead of answering him directly and immediately, he closes his eyes, says like 1 minute, thinks a bit, and then explains it. Now this is a famous analogy given by Mishpiyim and Lubavitch to describe Chokhmah and Bina. Because the question is, if he was so sure he got something, that he'd slam his hand on the table and say, I got it. So say it right away. Why do you gotta close your eyes and think about it before you explain it? Say it right away. And if you can't say it right away, then what'd you get? What are you getting so excited about? So therefore, Hasidus explains that before a person has a pure understanding, bina, of a certain subject, before they have lines of logic, letters of understanding and letters of thought, there's the initial flash, the barak mavrik, is what they call Chokhmah. Initial flash of intellectual intuition in which you see the concept abstracted from understanding the recesses of your mind. And you see it. And you say, I got it. But it's yet to come down to lines of logic and letters of thought, to then being clothed in letters of speech, so I can explain it. So I need another step to bring it down into my thoughts. But in the initial stage, you see the recesses of your mind. At that point, a person can have an emotional reaction. So this is the very essence of Hisbonenus. Hisbonenus is from the word bina, lihitbonen, to reflexively think about something on the level of bina, deep contemplation. But the very essence of Hisbonenus starts with seeing a mental picture of the concept in your mind. Even before you have pure understanding and pure, you're not a Talmud Chacham on the subject, as they say, right? You're not a complete expert on the subject, but you see the recesses of your mind, the truth. Then, until you bring it down. So a person would take these analogies of Chassidus, of this rock being thrown, as it's talking about the Eibusher creating the world every single second, and without having to be an expert in Chassidus, and all the details of time, of all the analogies of Chassidus and all the understandings, but just picture it in the mind, that you see it to be true. And that is the very basis of Hisbonenus that will give a person an emotional awakening. Now this, just people are like, they like sources. So they have a 2-volume sefer, The Mashpia, Rav Shlomo Chaim Kesselman, he was a big Mashpia in Lubavitch, already from Tomri Tmimim in Rostov, right, in Russia, and bringing it to Kfar Chabad. So they have a 2-volume sefer that explains his whole Shita and Avodah, approach to Avodah, a section in Hisbonenus, page 293. There you'll find the exact description of the Etzem Inyan of Hisbonenus, as I just described it, in which he just talks about how there once was Bachrim, after lunch, hanging outside, and they're putting the cement down for the sidewalk in front of the yeshiva. And there's all these machines that are churning the cement and pouring the cement. And 15, 16-year-old Bachrim, 17 maybe, watching interesting scene in Kfar Chabad. You don't get so many machinery in Kfar Chabad, so they get to watch this cement pour. So Rav Shlomo Chaim used this as an analogy for Hisbonenus, because what happened? They're looking so intently at these workers that when the workers left, the Bachrim closed their eyes and still see the workers in the head. They had that mental picture of the workers in the head. It's the same thing with Chassidus. A person learns, concepts of Chassidus, they create that mental picture, and they literally see the tzir, a picture of a Chassidus in their head. And from that, then they have the emotional reaction.